topical issue once more. The topic is adulthood education challenges with children and adolescents. I'll start with African society. In the past, children would go to their grandmother's hut. The grandmother would tell folklore, and after folklore, there were things that he would teach about family life, about sexuality. The grandmothers of the past were known as the naughty women of that time, because they would mention things that under normal circumstances, parents or other members of society would not be able to mention to the children. So they were able to impart certain knowledge, important knowledge in the gender issues that could not be imparted by the parents. Because in the traditional society, the father or the mother were to relate with a child, even up to adolescent, in a different style. There were things that they would not mention. There were behaviors that were not acceptable. So things like sexuality could not be discussed between a father and son, a mother and daughter. So the grandmothers did that job, and sometimes the aunts who are grown, they would be able to talk of some of these issues to the children. So as a child grew up, he knew that there are things he cannot be able to relate with the parent, but knew them anyway through learning from the uncle, from the grandmother, and from the aunts. And then during circumcision, because some communities had circumcision for boys and girls, some communities had circumcision for boys only. But at that age set, there were things they were taught about family life. So as they grew up, they knew things about sexuality, how to adjust to the society, how to behave in the sexual manner. But with the coming of education and coming of Christianity, many people converted to Christianity and wanted to go to heaven. So the grandmothers were told some of the things they used to say were naughty, they would go to hell. So automatically that chapter stopped. So a gap was created. There were no people to tell the children what was happening. The mothers and fathers, because of the teaching of the society, could not discuss those things with the children. So the children grew up ignorant up to adolescent. For boys, they would be enlightened a bit when they got to circumcision, or the girls when they got to circumcision. But then in most cases, you find that since that gap had been cut, they had problems relating. So those people who could take advantage started taking advantage of that situation. It ended up with a time when we had many teenage pregnancies because they didn't know how to behave, didn't know what to do. And the boys mostly used to be encouraged, the more you move, the more you are recognized as a man. So some of them would go messing up. This brought up a problem because there are some parents where a spouse would die and the aunts are not there. With the modern setting, long time people used to be in the village, so the aunts would help. But with the modern setting, you are with your children. So if you are a man and their daughters, you have to know that they've reached a certain age. You have to teach them about family life. You have to teach them how to protect themselves from the opposite gender, because now you are the only person there. Sometimes when a lady is widowed, is the widow, and the husband has died. She may have sons and also has a hard time trying to fit in that situation, those shoes, the feet fitting into those shoes. So mostly what has been happening, and also in the past, people did not allow single families. The society would scorn them, and they were rare. If somebody was single, she would take the children to the mother or things like that. But nowadays, even women bring up their sons. It's a very trying moment. There was a friend who was telling me the way she had to bring up the son. Now the son reached adolescent, and there's a lot of wrong teachings. So she saw that it was difficult. If you start bringing men to teach the children, they think you're looking for a relationship. So the burden was left now for her. So she had a hard time. She would call the son and start talking about herself, and the son would run away because there are things you cannot discuss with your man. Eventually the son listened and was able to grasp, and he has grown up to be a fine man, knowing how to interact with the opposite sex without getting problems, and finished college. There was another one also who had such a problem with the daughters, but was able to get advice from people, was able to advise them, and they went through up to college successfully. They are married and very okay. So it has been challenging for us to approach these subjects because there are things we could not discuss with our parents. We could not even imagine. Long time we didn't know that children were conceived. We knew children were bought. So the mother would go to maternity or wherever she would go, and then when a child is brought, you are told they bought that child from the shop. Some communities, they would say that the people went to the forest and then they snatched a baby from a monkey. But nowadays we have to face the facts because there are many evil people in the society. So sometimes you find you are of a different gender and the children are of a different gender. You have to learn to be friends to them and advise them accordingly, even on their own protection. It's a trying thing, it's a difficult thing, but if you don't step into those shoes, what is left is the phone and the computer. And you know, there are those websites that are adults only. And they are not only adults, because if a child knows to use the computer or the phone at 9 years, and the phone asks, are you an adult? Of course, out of cheekiness, the child will fill in yes. And there everything comes. So they may get the wrong notion of how life is. The churches are helping. Schools have been of great help. They have societies or parents who get together to see how they will talk to their children. It's good that this education has been included in the present education system, because long time, during our time, we had even difficulties being taught about reproduction in biology. Teachers will reach that topic and then they will tell the prefect, write the notes. Then they come and ask, have you read those notes? Yes, you understood. If you say, can we ask a question? They tell, go and read again. Then they will ask the questions in the exams. But nowadays, at least teachers are bold. They are able to approach those subjects the way it's supposed to be approached. We also have to approach as parents those subjects. Like it or not, you have a daughter, you will have to tell her things so that when she reaches that time, when she starts, she does not go to run to a teacher, maybe a male teacher, teacher, I'm sick, and get embarrassed. So you have to learn to talk to them about that. You have, if you are a mother and you have got sons, you have got to learn to tell the sons about sexuality, about not being involved with everybody, because it is only you who will be able to do that. It is always good when people can set groups that can be able to organize to discuss such issues, because this is a trying time. This is a time when we have diseases. This is a time when we have people will take advantage of the young ones who are not knowledgeable. So it's a call upon the parents, because nowadays you don't rely on the society. The society is not as safe as it used to be. So it will be the father or the mother's responsibility. And where you are both father and mother, learn to coordinate in teaching both your daughters and sons. It will save you from a lot of sorrow and miseries that come as a result of ignorance. So mine is to encourage you. Make your children your friends. Talk to them about general things. And let them feel free to talk to you about intimate things. Don't let your daughter fear to ask you something, even if you are the father. Maybe some young man has approached her and told her things. You should be friends to such an extent that she can come and tell you. Or even the mother. Some girls also approach boys. So your son can be able to come and tell you, this is happening, so and so has told me this. This is happening to me, what can it be? Because there are times also when they are growing up, strange things start happening to their bodies and they can't understand. You should be in a situation where your child can feel free and be able to tell you so that you can be able to rectify their ways, be able to advise, rather than going to sort that advice out, where the search for advice may lead to problems. That is my take for now.